You know what's interesting about this video? I'm going to zoom this in after this is just like the whole video in normal speed, right? After this plane gets zapped out of the sky, out of space time, wherever the shit's going on here, the second part of this video has a slow-mo version just of one part of it. And it's always been glossed over. I wish more people would have debated me about these videos because there's a crazy amount of details in them. And I never really dug too much into them and I never really understood them. So you see the drone here, he goes back, zooms out, and now that's the whole video. And now suddenly here, this is the original video we're looking at. Someone has edited in a slow-mo version that's stabilized and zoomed in of one of the orbs. Look at this. And everybody, the debunkers always ignored this. Nobody ever tried to rationalize, like, why did someone put this weird slow-mo, stabilized, zoomed-in part in this video? This is the oldest version of the video we can find. So presumably the leaker did this. Watch closely. They want us to see the orb. So this orb, and what I found out when I looked at this, because I compared back to the original, I hadn't even compared to the original to see when this was in the original video. This is the beginning. This is when the orb first gets around the plane. Look at that orb, chat. Most beautiful orb I've ever seen in my life. God, that is just an absolutely... Have you seen a more beautiful orb than that? Almost perfectly spherical. You can see the color signature change where it's fuzzy around the edges because there's a clear magnetic field that's being produced. And yet some particles still escape, but very little. But notice it's perfectly homogeneous. It's all green in the middle. Watch closely. It's all slow-mo. It's all green. Still, it's all green. We can actually see some of the dark lines coming out of the orbs at this point. Now we can see the other orb there as well. So the orbs, this is when the orbs first lock in. All three of them. And now look at it. It changed. Suddenly, it changes. It changes right here when it comes back around. And it starts to blur. But now, ooh, it's not a sphere anymore. Now that heat signature is starting to become a crescent shaped. Now that heat signature is starting to become a little crescent shaped boy that we have here. Look at that. And you know what, chat? It doesn't go back. It doesn't go back to being a perfect sphere shape. Look at that. I know why. I know why that person edited that in there. And then they edited this part in where you can see the crescent shapes. See the crescent shapes in the plasma spheres here? See those crescent shapes? Now, I've basically been feeding every frame of this video into Ani, one description at a time, and correcting her understanding and re-going through it. And now I can finally say, I understand these videos. I understand these orbs. I understand what's going on with this. Number one thing is that these orbs have to have something inside of them. Absolutely. The orange slice, or the crescent, we'll call it, is not consistent with the direction of travel. So sometimes it's over here, sometimes it's over here, sometimes it's over here, and it spins around, which means that crescent shape that we see get formed is not related to the orb's direction of travel, their propulsion. That's something else. That crescent shape is what they're using to control the overall field of, let's call it, the wormhole. So these orbs actually have more than one purpose. How do we know that? Because the first orb shows up and speeds up to the plane at several thousand miles per hour. Several thousand miles per hour. You say, Ashton, how do you know that? Because you can just count the pixels. I'll do this one big screen. Hold on. Where is it? You can pretty much count the pixels, but this plane is moving pretty slow. But watch how fast this orb comes flying in here. So this means that they don't have to have that weird heat signature thing going on in the orb in order to be able to pull off those crazy maneuvers. That's actually part of this overall configuration you see them forming for this space-time jump that they're doing here. So these orbs are little fusion reactor boys, little space-time manipulation boys, whatever you want to call them. But they are multi-purpose. And this to me indicates there's no way it can be just like some plasma ball that you spun up. There actually has to be like something in there actively modulating all this, in my opinion. One more thing I want to point out, another revelation, a big one. God, look at that. This is David Froning, by the way, guys. That book, 1000%. We found him. You can call the publisher up if you guys want. They've got like 400 copies of this book that you can get for normal price if you can't find it on the internet. I got some people to hit them up. I'm going to call them up tomorrow. adventuresunlimitedpress.com if you want to get it. This is definitely him. This is like literally his fingerprints are all over that shit that you just saw. All over it. And one more thing I realized then. I said, oh, okay. Well, if that weird toroidal crescent shape is not related to their movement, then that means these things must be using gravity manipulation to fly around. That thing where you saw them come fly in and like orbit the plane like that, they're using gravity manipulation to fly around. Why are there these lines, these dark lines that are in front of the orbs near the end? Those aren't propelling it forward. These lines are not propelling the orbs forward that you see in front of the plane, in front of these little orbs. See these dark lines right here in front of the orbs? Those aren't propelling. Those are slowing it down. Those are basically ensuring that the orbs are moving the exact same momentum, exact same speed as the plane. The orbs are actually constantly accelerating because they are reducing their mass so that they're weightless objects, basically. So they're using a gravity propulsion just floating around. And then the laser beam from the fusion reactor is actually like just making sure that they perfectly match the plane. Like perfectly match it. So how many different functions you got there? Like a fusion reactor propulsion. You've got your toroidal spinny shit going on. And then you've also got to make sure that your X-rays that you're shooting out are making sure that you slow down to be perfectly matching a plane that you're orbiting in formation. This is some crazy ass shit, chat. This is some beyond spooky shit. This is some shit. They definitely killed some people over this shit. For sure, you kill people over this shit. And that's why it just blows me away that we're able to freely talk about it. But, so, summing that up, these orbs are able to produce a gravitational potential themselves, and they may not take a lot of energy to move around. The secret to how they do that jump is that it's not that they're pushing the plane. The orbs themselves are changing the space-time. That's why they're doing this spinny stuff. That's why you see the heat signatures in there, which are most likely all lined up. We can't see them all in any particular frame very well, except for near the end. But they're most likely moving around in synchronization. And what they're doing is the same thing where if you were to, or an opera singer were to break a wine glass, they're basically doing the same thing. But they're doing that to space-time itself. That's what they're able to pull off. And I'm going to repeat this because it's very important for people to understand when people say, Ashton, well, shit, if we got something that's this advanced, how can you say that's not aliens? To be honest with you, I want to say it's aliens. I mean, teleportation, free energy, like AI, Jarvis orbs, plasma orbs. I want to say it's aliens. It's not, though. It's not. Look at those videos. You see that, like, we're looking at a drone. You're like looking at the drone when we're recording it. The drone is like right next to the plane, man. That shit is right up on it. That drone can't catch up to a Boeing 777. Boeing 777 is way faster than that drone. The math just ain't mathing on this one. They weren't like, hey, let's go intercept this plane with this highly sophisticated CIA drone with color FLIR just to watch it while these orbs magically just randomly came around it. This is why they hate me so much. There ain't no way to spin that story. There's no way to spin that story to blame it on aliens or interdimensional beings. Like, you're literally just staring at it in 4K. And this is the beautiful irony. They were probably recording it because they wanted to get that information for themselves. Like, they wanted to like be like, hey, we don't get to do this very much. We need to see how this shit works. And we need to like have evidence of how it works so that we can make it better, you know? And the scary part is this. There's no way that's the first time they've ever done some shit like that. There's no way. Just like that letter to me said about this, they said, they said something about they've been doing this for decades. Been parts of dozens of operations. Like, what, we're just out there just zapping things out of the sky whenever we want? Imagine there's like military planes from other countries that don't even show up on flight radar, and we're just zapping them out of the sky, and their militaries don't even say anything about it, because what are they going to say? The plane just disappeared. Okay, it's all pretty dark stuff, guys. The equation specifically, because everyone wants to know about the math. And the math is there's an extra dimension, but in this extra dimension, we have to add, this changes our electromagnetic field equations. So on page 65 of the new Ashton's Your Grandpa Bible, there they are. And essentially what this says, this is going to be important for the video later, is that our normal U1 symmetry is our normal electromagnetic waves. That's our normal Maxwell equations. But it says if we can condition our electromagnetic waves, we can create SU2 symmetry. And this is only possible because there's an extra dimension. And he says, well, how do we do this? Basically, we take one wave and we split it. And then one of these waves, we twist it. And then we put them back on top of each other. And then when we do that, now the new wave has SU2 symmetry. Look at that, chat. I just taught you how to manipulate gravity. So you may be wondering, Ashton, how do you figure this out? I told you the aliens downloaded into my brain. But if you want the real answer, I've been using AI a lot, and it makes it a lot easier to figure this stuff out. Now, number two, the other question you may be wondering is, hey, Ashton, if all we have to do is split apart a laser beam and twist it around and then remodulate it back together, can't we just like do that? Yeah, probably. My next thing we're going to do is figure out who's making the magical laser beams that manipulate gravity. It's probably that NYU guy. They're talking about reverse tractor beams and all that shit. It's probably those people. So we're going to go find those people next, and we're going to find their magical laser beams that manipulate gravity. It's going to be fun.